Well, it's Tuesday again, Stacey. They come round real quick, don't they?
Yeah, this reoccurring live that we do and share. So yeah, it comes around quick, and I actually really enjoy it too.
Yeah, me too. If you're just tuning in, you are here with Stacey Taylor, men's coach, and me, Joanne Webb, otherwise known as the Happiness Hustler. And we are together, the Sacred Relationship Lab, and we're here to answer all your relationship questions. Anything goes, nothing's off the cards. We've answered some pretty deep and meaningfuls along the last few weeks, haven't we, Stacey? So we're open to anything.
Yeah, for sure. If you've got any questions or you're struggling with something in relationship, and when we speak about relationship, that can be romantic relationship, that can be your relationship to money, your health, whatever it is. Just drop it in, and we'll do our best to answer it for you.
Yeah, it's funny actually because most of our the questions recently have been all about relationships, but you're right, it can be about anything, can't it? Anything. Bring it on,
Yeah,
guys. Bring it on. Okay,
definitely.
Stacey, hit us with your first question. Come on, you can go first today.
Yeah, so I had a lady reach out and ask. She said every time she tries to share or have a deep conversation with her husband, he sort of gets quite confrontive and quite aggressive and shuts down, and she doesn't know what to do. She's starting to close down. So was looking for some tips or advice on how to navigate that.
Oh, communication. It's
Mm,
usually a deal breaker, isn't it, a relationship when we're not very good at communicating. And it doesn't mean that she's not very good at communicating, but I think there's always some tips to be had. Do you know when I go in on when I'm ever doing any kind of mediation with families or even friends or whatever, I always say to talk from the I, not from
mm,
the you. You know, and also ask, when you're going into the conversation as well, check your energy before you go in. That's the first and foremost. Check your energy. How are you emotional? Are you going to be angry? And because if it's going to go in with anger, it's never going to be a good thing. So if you are calm, if you are clear about what you want to say, that's always my first checklist. And then, and then say to the husband, can we have a chat?
mm.
Are you available to listen and have a chat? And like make sure that both of you are on the same page, that you're turning up, that you're both okay. Because sometimes I know I've tried it, especially when the kids walk through the door, you try and have a chat with them straight away, and they're like, whoa, no, just come in from work, don't want to talk. You've got to read the room, haven't you? And then I would always talk about it from my perspective. I feel this when this happens. And then I would say, I'm not saying you're making me feel like that, but this is how I'm feeling when this happens in our relationship, or when you behave this way, this is how I feel. Now, it might not be how you're intending me to feel, but this is how I'm feeling. I understand I've got inner wounds too that need dealing with, but this is how I am feeling. That is how I would always approach every conversation.
Mm.
And I try and do the sandwich thing as well sometimes, depending on the characters we're dealing with. Start off with a good thing, say how you're feeling, end with a good thing. Do you bring so much to the relationship. I love you so much, and I really want our relationship to be great. However, I'm feeling this, and it's getting in the way of our relationship feeling great. Can I? And then say how you're feeling. I feel this, and then say, and I really love our relationship. Can we just work together? It's like it's the softeners.
Mm.
That makes
Yeah,
sense.
yeah, that's beautiful. That's beautiful, Joanne. Like it's good to get a point of view from a man and a woman, because often we think we know what the other person's thinking, but we 9 times out of 10 don't have a clue because we're not in their shoes. We're not in their, we're not walking on their journey. So that's beautiful. From my point of view, where a man can't hold space when he has an active wound. So he's not hearing what you're saying. It's triggering the wounded little boy inside of him, and he's like, get away from me, I can't handle this, I can't deal with this, I can't face this. So it's not so much about you. I use this analogy with the guys that I work with. Like if you had a broken arm and someone whacked it, and you would lash out, you would get away from me, you would lash out. Or you had a gaping wound and someone stick their hand in it, you would lash out, and you'd be
Mm.
angry and aggressive. But with our emotional wounds, we can't see them. So it's the very same thing that's happening. You're triggering the wound that hurts, and he's not actually hearing what you're saying at all. He's hearing his interpretation of his context, which is causing him to lash out. And so maybe like Joanne said, is just just talk to him first. Just say, hey, I need to have a conversation with you. Is this the right time, or can we have a time to sit down and talk? And I'm not attacking you, but I need to be able to communicate, because whatever I'm feeling this in the relationship right now. And if we can't communicate, then how can we grow? How can we expand? And same for the guy that shuts down. A lot of guys will go the opposite way and they'll just shut down. They'll go quiet, they'll escape, they'll run away. So it's the same thing. They've got a wound that they don't know how to communicate, and their survival strategy is to shut down. So, eventually, if they can't communicate, then you're going to be, like Joanne said, if you can't communicate, you're pretty stumped in a relationship, because you've got to have these deep, meaningful, sometimes harsh or brutal conversations in order to move forward in a relationship. So that's why it's called relationship. We're relating with the other person. And I always say we're not in a relationship with the other person. We're in a relationship with all our doubts, fears, and insecurities, and it's being mirrored back to us through that person. So as we work through that, but without communication, it's pretty hard to even, especially for a woman, to feel safe, to feel seen, and to be able to really open up. So try that, see how that goes, and if that works. If not, let us know. But yeah, once a man's getting like that, he's usually kind of it's pretty hard to get through to him, because he doesn't want to take responsibility and he doesn't want to hear the truth. And like I said, he's not hearing what you're saying, he's hearing his interpretation of what you're saying. So it feels like a personal attack, which it never really is. And you just got to work through that to be able to start to get some kind of communication going, so you can resolve these things in your relationship.
Yeah, no, I agree. And we've all got wounds that are inside of us, and it's the same for a man or a woman. I know that it works the other way around. If a guy's coming to a woman and saying things, a woman can equally just lash out just the same. It works both ways. But I think if you say, if we go on like when you don't put the bins out and you don't listen to me, it's like you, and it falls. But when you say, I'm feeling this, I'm feeling that, it takes an ownership. And that's exactly is what's happening, because nobody can make you feel anything anyway. Nobody can make you feel anything. Your emotions are your emotions. So when we go into a conversation, whether we are heard or not, if we can speak our absolute truth from who we are in a non-confrontational manner, then we have honored ourselves. And that's probably all that you can do, really. And we can't control whether he's going to listen to you or not, or hear you, but at least you are going in with all of the tools to at least try to make it happen.
Yeah, and Joanne touched on a really powerful point. It takes a lot of responsibility to own this statement, but no one can make you feel a way that you don't already feel inside internally. And a lot of people say, that's bullshit. I don't agree with you, Stacy. Now, if somebody come to you and said, oh, you're sunshine and rainbows, or your flower, you'd be like, hey. But if they say that one thing, whack, and it hits you, so whatever triggers you is yours to own. One thing for the men out there, this is why it's so important to do the work. Before, my wife used to say, oh, you haven't mowed the lawns, you haven't done this, or you haven't done that. And I used to be like, fuck, I mowed them the other day. Then, or I'd be like this, I'd be defensive. Now I realize it's got nothing to do with the fucking lawns. It's got nothing to do with the bins. And I can just take it, and because I don't take it personally anymore, and I realize she's crying out to me. She's trying to get to be seen. And I'll just take a second and I'll just hold her. So to all the men out there, just ask her, don't just grab the woman, but say, I hear you. Can I just hold you right now? Can I just hold you, and just hold her for a minute, and then ask her what's really going on? Then she'll tell you what's really going on, and then bang. But maybe as a young girl, she had to lash out to be attacked to then get love. But once you're no longer triggered, you can hold space through anything. Like my wife and I have some deep, solid conversations, and some pretty big stuff can be brought to the table. And very rarely now will I feel the pinch, but if I feel the pinch, I still don't react. So, it's really about being able to communicate from your adult self, not your wounded child.
Here. Here. Wouldn't the world be a lovely place if we were all behaving like adults and not like the inner child that we are and we're wounded?
Yeah.
Gosh, I know. And I think a lot of people will resonate with that because there's a lot of people, and a lot of people don't know how to communicate. There's a lot of people that don't know how to use their voice, that don't feel confident to use their voice. And like, I know people who get caught up that they're frightened of saying the right words as well. Do you know what? If you have to write it down before you go into the conversation, do that as well. Preparation is okay. You know, before I learned to use my voice, before I was confident in my voice, sometimes I'd have to go in with like bullet points so I didn't forget things, because you can be getting your emotional brain, you easily forget things, and it comes out all wrong and blah, blah, blah. So even if you have to write a few sentences down, do that first as well for that confidence in the communication.
Yeah, that's beautiful, Joanne. That's really good advice, because then you can stick to the points.
Exactly, rather than going off on a tangent and bringing up what happened in 1975. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah, so good.
I've got quite a sharp, quick one at the minute. That somebody said to us, all we ever seem to do is work, eat, and sleep. Our relationship is like, they're like that. It's so boring. We just, what can we do to get back to it? We're just in that cycle of work, eating, and sleeping. It's like the functionality. What can we do? Is there any tips that we can do to get back? I don't think they've got a lot of money, a lot of disposable income, but what can we do to get back to having some joy in our life?
No, I love this one. I love this one because it doesn't take money. It doesn't take money to make your relationship thrive. It takes effort and it takes time.
Mm-hmm.
So when we don't have a lot of money, we can get caught up in the grind of life and trying to survive. And literally we're in survival, but we've actually gone one step and we're actually dying because we're not nourishing the relationship, and that doesn't give us the fuel to create or go beyond that. So, start with a date night. Like, make your dinner, put it in a picnic basket and go down to your local park. I remember when I was in one of the worst financial spots we'd ever been in, because when you go on this journey of healing, God's going to rip away everything that you've hidden in. And one of the things that was ripped away from me was money. And I can remember just setting up a table on the backyard under the tree with some candles and cooking dinner and then surprising my wife when she got home. So, and the other thing you've got to realize is when it's like that, one of you're both afraid to actually make the step, because what if I make it and they reject me? Or what if I make it and they don't make it back to me? So when you can become unconditional with it, you don't need anything back, because what you give, you receive, not from the other person, but in energetic. So, it doesn't cost a lot of money to maybe get some fish and chips and go down the beach or your local park, or go for a walk together, or make a plan and save up for something. If there's a concert coming up or a holiday you want to, like, create a plan and then both become a part of that plan, because that plan comes alive and then you get creative.
Mm-hmm.
And that thing that you want to do that you may not have the money for now, you might chip away over it 3 or 6 months, and then you get this incredible night or weekend away or day away. And then you're like, wow, what's the next one? But relationships take work and growth. And what I've noticed, and I was guilty of this in life, is that once we leave school, once we leave university or tech or polytech, most of us stop growing.
Mm-hmm.
We may grow in our careers because our bosses give us opportunities that we have to go to, but we stop growing in other areas. And one of the big ones is our romantic relationships. And to the men out there, romance her how you did when you first seen her, when you first were in relationship with her, and you'll find another version of that woman that you didn't even know was there, you didn't even know was possible for you. But you've got to put in the work.
Absolutely. I agree. And with effort comes reward. It's just how it works. And I think,
Yeah.
and I'm totally with you. I remember when I met my partner, he'd had one of the blow ups in life, and he was at the bottom and didn't have any money. And we were started off as mates, and we'd hang out and we'd have such a laugh. And what would we do? We'd do silly things like, I got the Connect Four out one time. I said, come on, let's have a game of Connect Four. I mean, it was like something I hadn't played since I was about 11 years old. I think it was either my kids or his kids' game. Got it out and we sat there for a whole night. Look, I'm on live. Hi, Brooke. That's my daughter.
Oh,
Um, sat there for a whole night playing Connect Four, and we laughed, and it was, it's like, it just brings back all fun, happy childhood memories as well. We did things like that. Like you said, we'd make an effort. We went for a walk. One day I said, right, I'm going to walk 20,000 steps every day this month. And we went out and we walked 20,000 steps every day, and we looked at different houses, and we go along the road and we go, which house is your favorite on this road? Which one do you like the most? Which one would you want to live in? Which one would you want to renovate? There's so much innovative ideas that you can do that don't need money. And you know what? From boredom, if you are bored, that is the best place for creativity. Because when you're bored, your mind goes, what the hell can we do? Get out a pack of cards, learn how to play poker, do something together that you invest in together where you can have a bit of fun, and stops you from plonking yourselves down in front of the TV every night and just kind of go, because, TV is one of the biggest passion killers in the world, I think. It doesn't set you up for a good night's sleep. It doesn't set you up for any good conversations, unless you're having a laugh about the program, I guess. But and maybe try and do something, see each other in a way that you've never seen each other before. Like, just a stupid thing. I've started playing ultimate frisbee. Somebody roped me into doing it. I was so dreading it, right? I'm not a team sport girl. But the other day, he came and watched me play. And he just thought it was like really sexy because he'd see me in a different environment, and it was fun to watch me. When he's doing something that's in his element that I don't know about, it's fun to watch each other and get to know each other on a deeper level.
yeah.
Try new things.
Yeah. And it doesn't take a lot of money. Like, trust me, effort over money is always going to be far more sexy, far more appealing, as you grow and expand, sure, those dates may grow and expand. But once you start creating a practice of where you're at, that will grow because your frequency will shift, and your frequency is what you will frequently see. So you'll start attracting more opportunities and money and resources to be able to do bigger and better things in life. But you've got to start with what you've got and where you are. And if anyone out there's still got a TV in their room, go take that fucking thing out right now.
Yeah.
And also, don't go on your phone in the bed. Like, we talk about TVs, but the phone is another passion killer. And, like, have a discipline. When you're gonna go to bed, that you're right. This is before I go to bed, I'm connecting with my partner. It's like Joanne said, it's actually winding down, it's respecting yourself, and it's giving yourself the opportunity to sleep well, to have actual physical connection, emotional connection, because that's what we're missing in this modern world. Because, you go into the shopping mall and everyone's sitting with their best friends or family, and every single person's on their phone while they're with the people that mean the most to them.
Yep.
And I'm guilty of it. We all are. But we have to create some space to put these devices away and be present. And, I used to create a ritual with my children where once a fortnight minimum, I would take my son or my daughter out to do something. So my son's was to the barber shop. So I would go straight in the morning. They wouldn't go to school. We'd go to the barber shop. I'd make sure I wasn't on my phone for the whole time. We'd go to the barber shop, we'd go out for breakfast, we'd have deeper, meaningful conversations. And then sometimes I'd drop my son back to school, or sometimes I'd bring him home and let him do what he wanted for the day. So when we talk about relationships, create rituals. Because rituals mean something. We used to do Pancake Sunday, but you can actually apply this into your relationship, especially for the men out there. If your woman knows that once a week or once a fortnight, you're going to take her on a date on this night, and it's non-negotiable, and you're going to show up and you're going to plan it and create it and just take her and take the lead, watch your flipping relationship start to thrive, because she's just going to melt and go, this man sees me, he's taking the lead, I'm safe, I'm being seen. And for the woman, I always say women want to hear I love you, men want respect. So just honor the man for what he's bringing in. So if he makes an effort, just let him know that you're thankful for the effort.
Yeah.
I'd rather be respected for what I bring to the relationship more than I would want to be told I'm loved.
Yeah.
So, and women want to know they're loved and cherished. And so just start to understand the dynamics.
Yeah, I agree. And if all you do is work, eat, and sleep, when you're eating, why don't you like make a meal together, but try something, a new meal every week? You know, there's different things that you can introduce, isn't there? So, because we get in a rut what we eat, don't we? But let's get the cookbook out and try one new meal a week, or once a week. You cook for me while I'll sit and chat to you. You cook for me and I'll sit and chat to you. You know, it's like you can spice anything up, can't you? But it's, you know what? It just creates, no, it starts with an intention. It starts with an intention. And if you've got the intention, do it. But your brain will want you to stay where you are. Your brain won't want you to do this. So just have that awareness, because there will be fear there. There will be, oh, should we do that? Or should I even suggest that? Be aware that there's fear. That's okay. But you can get over your fear by just trying things, because your brain is wired for you to stay the same. Your soul is craving change.
Yeah. One of my clients just did this. He was separated from his wife, and he literally, they were working on it. He came to work with me, and he just rang her one night and he said, let's cook dinner together. This is what I'm planning. This is what I'm thinking. We'll have a beer, you have a wine, we'll cook together. He said it was such a success that when he went back to his children's house the next night, his adult children who live with him, he rang them and said, let's do homemade pizzas and cook together. And so once you get it in one area, you can take it and use it in another area. And now all your relationships are thriving because you're giving the very thing you want to receive. And now there's this energy of fullness, of wholeness, of connection, and the people around you are being seen. And it's as simple as that. And this can go back to, anything, like a pizza. You can make a homemade pizza together and chuck it in the oven, or chuck something on the barbie and, sit out and talk and keep your devices out of that area. Like just say for this next 2 hours, we're going to be fully present with each other. Work, social media, everything else is gone, and I'm going to be there and see you and connect with you.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. I love it all. I think it's great. And you just have to, what you want, you have to do. It's never going to just be given to you, ever. Ever, ever, ever. If you want more connection, you have to create more connection. If you want more fun, you've got to inject more fun. If you want more love, you've got to be more loving. If you want to have more laughter, you've just got to laugh more. You've got to create. And you know what? If the other person doesn't appreciate it, it doesn't matter. It's all for you as well. We've got to do it. We've got to be what we want in the world. We've got to give it out 100%.
Yeah. And Peter Crone says this quote, past hurts inform future fears. When you come into a new relationship, you've got no hurt, you've got no fears, you've got no sadness with that person more often than not, or it sort of drifts away because you're in this romance, and then you'll go through life and a few things happen and you're slowly shutting down, but it deteriorates so slowly over time that you don't realize the deterioration over 5 or 10, 15, 20 years. And then you wake up and you're just living with someone that you actually have very little connection, that become more like a friend than your lover.
Yeah.
And so you've got to, this is why it comes down to doing inner work, but also working like practically on the relationship. What can we do? And have a conversation. What do you enjoy to do? Like I just started looking at I just pay attention. Oh shit, my wife really loved that song she sent me. Or I'm like, fuck, who's that artist? Is he coming to New Zealand? Or what's that movie she was talking about? Like, pay attention. Pay attention, and these little clues to what that person is what they like. And then when you surprise them with it, bang, like they're like, wow, they see me this deeply.
It's not rocket science, is it? It's just actually taking the time to be aware. The other day, my partner came in with a piece of plywood for me from a jigsaw puzzle. I mean, I was like, oh, because I'm a real nerd and I like to sit there, and it's just a little thing that I do. I like to switch off. It's great. And he sat there doing Lego. We were like a right pair of little nerds sitting at the table, but you know what? We couldn't have been happier. But there was the sentiment that he brought me home, a piece of plywood, and then cut it and shaped it and sanded it all for me. So it was perfect. And I was like, oh, thanks. We're not complicated creatures, are we?
I love that. Like that is the simplicity right there of us as human beings. That I see my partner loves puzzles, she wants a plywood, I'm going to do this, sand it, bang, done. Simple as that. Like, people used to say to me, how did you know what I wanted for Christmas? Like you always, because I just listen. Oh man, that's amazing, or this or that. And then I'm like, oh, write that down.
Yeah.
Right? It's not hard. Like, just see what your person loves. Like, what does your person love? What
Yeah.
is their love language? And even if you don't, just what do they love? And give that to them. And when you give it to them, you will see it returned. And if for some reason it's not, then that's another conversation to be had at some point.
Yeah. I agree.
Yeah.
Oh, they were both really good ones today again. We're loving this. It's funny how we've got one question each time. We're so
Yeah.
soon we'll be bombarded. We'll be like agony aunts and agony uncles. We'll be like, we'll have to just do a few at a time, guys. But
Yeah.
anyway, it's working out perfect. That was so good.
Yeah, that was awesome. Thanks, Joanne, and thanks to the people that have the courage to ask the questions, because that's where the real growth is when you just are open and honest, completely honest
Yeah.
with where you're at, what's going on, because once you're honest, the truth sets you free. Like, I know it sounds like a cliche, it's something that people say all the time, but the more I go on my journey of life, the more I realize is that the weight of the lies, the unconscious lies, and the things that we're afraid of is actually what keeps us stuck. And fuck, life's too short to have shitty relationships. Like, come on, let's love what we're doing and love the relationship we're in, and
Yeah.
give what we want to receive and enjoy life.
Yeah, live with an open heart, live from vulnerability, just let it all go, get rid of all of those chains that are holding you back, and just be able to stand up straight and head held high, and just live your best life. This is how we do it. We do it by doing the inner work, and it's the one thing that will set you free.
Yeah, yeah.
So until next week, guys, send in your questions. Send them to me, send them to Stacy. It's how we're doing it. You can see how it all works. It's not hard and it's not difficult. Send them through and we'll answer your questions. So I will see you again next week, Stacy.
Yeah, and just one thing, if anyone out there that we've answered questions for and you've applied anything, let us know how it went. Like, give us some feedback on, or if you've got an expansion on that question. But we'd love to know, if these things are helping you, how they've helped you, what you got out of it, what changed in your relationship. Because, it's also neat. Like, it's really neat to, share your wins as well. Like, wow, I asked this question, I was vulnerable, I took this, I applied it, yeah, I got a great outcome, or no, I got a really bad outcome, or, but we
Yeah, we
don't
want to
keep
know the
getting
good, the
away.
bad, and the ugly.
Yeah, like, because then it could, open up another conversation that allows you to expand any more. So if anyone out there that's asked a question has got some feedback, good or bad, I don't think it's bad, but if you perceive it's bad, please share it, because we'd love to know.
Yeah, nice one. Love it. Until next week, guys, we will see you then.